Here we are on a beautiful July morning in Surrey, British Columbia. And this is my good friend Carl Amouzou. Probably known you 40 years-ish.
Yeah, probably around that, because it's been since our family lived on Victoria Street.
Okay. We're working on a little EP together, doing a song of Carl's and a couple songs of mine. And Carl's doing some rapping and spoken word. And Carl is a theologian. He's got a degree from Fuller Seminary. He's a good teacher of the Bible, and he's actively doing that in a few churches in the Vancouver area. He's also started I think you're about 8 years old.
Yeah,
That's when you started rapping.
yeah.
Yeah. How did, tell us a little bit about that.
And yeah, I started rapping when I was 8. I was introduced to a Christian hip hop group called PID, which stood for Pastors in Disguise. And so myself and a friend from down the street, a guy named Mark, we decided to call ourselves KID, which stood for Kids in Disguise. Very clever.
Okay.
And that was the beginning of my rapping career. Right?
Yeah.
I remember my first rhyme was probably like 4 bars, and I was like the best thing in the world to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And then, jumping way ahead, you went to Bible school in Hawaii. What years were you there in Hawaii?
Moved to Hawaii in 2006, and then in January, and then began Bible college in the fall of 2006.
Right.
Right. So.
And you were actively doing your music production company at that time, or was that before that?
It was before that. So
okay.
Yeah, so probably from about 2003 to 2006, I had started a company called Embassy Records, and we were doing music here locally, independently.
Yeah.
Like basically like selling CDs out the trunk of the car, doing shows every day. Like it was a hustle and a grind.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Hawaii, it was a pretty clear cut from doing what I was doing to then beginning to work like basically reorienting my life with Jesus, but then from that point beginning to work in ministry and then using hip hop more as a tool to help connect with especially with youth and things like that. So that kind of became a very different focus for me.
Yeah, and then you had many years where you weren't using your musical skills, but in the last, say, couple years, like one of the tunes that'll be on this EP, we recorded together 2 or 3 years ago, and so sort of came back around into what you were doing, right?
Yeah. It took like when I first moved back to Vancouver. Back in 2012, so this is 12 years ago now. It just all of a sudden I went from doing music as like part of what I did to it was really hard to create, and like I'm still trying to wrestle through why it was so hard. But I feel like there's just something about going back to places that kind of feel a little bit haunted for you.
Mm-hmm.
That it's hard to create in those spaces until you can understand what your presence means in that place. And so I feel like one of the things that God was doing in my own life throughout those years was really helping me to kind of realign and reattune what it meant for my life to be a presence here in Vancouver again. Because it's like I have a history here, and then I also have a future here, and really leaning into what is the future God is bringing me into. And so getting to be able to record that song with you was part of that, really beginning to understand what my voice could be within hip hop again in this city. So
yeah. Yeah, and I've had a lot of fun, working outside of the genre I normally work in, and yeah, it's fun to explore and use new tools.
Oh, Jesus, you brought your glory down. Humbly you gave us your all. You showed us the Father's fullness. You sent us out in your love. Help us walk in your love. Help us walk in your love. Help us walk in your love.
we walk we walking it out. Lord help us conform to what we talking about. Whether we dance or play or we moving away of the risen sun, these are the words we pray. Lord help us stay present to your love. Crack the blinds with a little bit more of your light shining bright here, so we might remain here. Answer the call to be one. When you call, watch as we run, or maybe watch a rerun. These are good times. Cruciform, make that wood shine in your image, cause your word is truth. Walk in your love, cause the world needs proof. See your glory ablaze like a burning roof. Walk in your love, cause the world needs proof.
Help us walk in your love. 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 Help us walk in your love.